Alors, Aryan, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So
Always a
basically,
pleasure to interact with you and the various members of the MBA Center. Yeah.
so we started a collaboration something like 1 year and a 1 year and a half ago, and we'll
Yeah.
explain how we started. So basically, you started early. So basically, Aryan, can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah. So hi guys, my name is Aryan. I'm 22 years old and currently I'm currently working with the MBA Center. Now, there's a very funny story, yet an inspirational one. So initially, I started with them as a student, and I just Dr. Hubert and I we just sort of used to sit and have long conversations apart from just studies and just career, and we found a mutual kind of motivation to make this company the next big thing in the world. So that is how we collaborated beyond studies. And yeah, I mean, I did get into schools like LBS-A for their MFA program. I got into HEC Paris, MIM. I got into ESSEC, MIM and MFin, both Duke, Cornell. And I was waitlisted at Kellogg, obviously, because I applied to America in the last round. To American schools during the last round. But then, just as I was on verge of, putting my deposit, there was this Russia-Ukraine war, and I was like, no, this is not the really right time to go to Europe, because when you get into such great schools, you want to sort of spend time in those schools in the iconic vicinities rather than just paying money and studying online. It just doesn't make sense. So uh, I took a gap year and I got recruited by this amazing company called the MBA Center, and now I'm the youngest to and the only Indian to become director of any European company. So currently I'm serving as the in charge or the director or whatever you may call it of the MBA Center Paris office. All thanks to Dr. Hubert. Yeah.
So yes, so basically, yes. So Aryan is helping me a lot, and of course, I really appreciate. So he's an example of a student was prepared the MIM and the MFA results, and now he's giving 1 year of his life. Huh? Now, basically, yes, it can sound strange that someone who has been accepted to so many schools decides to take a year off, to take a gap year. But I perfectly understand that Aryan is a child of the COVID-19 generation, and he already spent probably time working at home while studying, and we don't want that to happen. So of course, I understand that it is a good situation. So basically, for those who are going to come to Europe, so the war in Ukraine is very far from uh, from Paris or from London. But now, of course, we see the consequences basically on energy resources. We have less energy because of what is going on. So yes, it affects us. Now the good news is that because of the war, the euro has lost 20% of its value. So MIM now inside is 20% cheaper. Hein? Alors basically, Aryan, so you come from a good school. You have at the same time, so you come from India, so it's pretty far. Europe or US is pretty far. Why have you decided to study abroad? Why is it so important in your karma
When it comes to
study abroad? Yeah.
And see, when it comes to studying abroad, I mean, there are a couple of things that sort of propel me to I'm not somebody who will say that, oh my God, this is such an Instagrammable place, and oh my God, this place is such great places to party. No, that's just not me. What I see is that the amount of effort that I'm putting on Indian exams. I don't really need to put that much effort for for the exams like the GMAT or the GRE. That's one reason. Number two, when it comes to these schools, like the highly coveted schools, and if you like sort of compare these schools and their offerings with the elite Indian schools, you always realize that the schools that we have, like something I got into HEC, ESSEC, LBS and stuff like that. So if I were to compare these schools, and for my undergrad I went to St. Xavier's, Bombay. So if I just compare my undergraduate institution and the institutions that have been accepted onto, right? So there is a huge difference, like not just in terms of quality of education, but also in terms of the postmasters salaries that you tend to sort of earn. I mean, and and for somebody like me, I'm sorry, I keep getting calls. So I was talking about the comparison in salary and stuff like that. So yes, somebody like me who's an aspiring investment banker who wants to work abroad and make it big and make it big in the financial services industry. For me, what matters is I'm working in India for an investment bank, and I'm earning a certain sum of money. It is nearly 7x if I get a master's from HEC. So, or let's say a master's in finance, or master's in financial analysis from LBS or from Duke, Cornell, or whatever, like the schools that I got into. So this is a major factor. Let's see, if you guys are finance enthusiasts, and I guess you've joined because you guys are finance enthusiasts, you guys would obviously look at the ROI, and ROI is the most in this industry. And one more reason, all the front office roles, like the great IB roles and private equity roles and VC front office roles, you can only get it, like there is a surge in the demand in these countries, like London, or let's say New York, or probably even Amsterdam. So this is another reason. Plus, I'll also give you guys another reason as to why I finally decided to pursue my MFin from HEC or from ESEC or LBS or whatever. So I attended the HEC Paris summer school. The topic was.
We'll come back to that. Huh?
Okay, sure.
Aryan, so basically what you have to understand, when I met Aryan, I met him, it was in maybe January, February 2021.
I guess we met in 2020 or 2021, something like that.
Yeah. And then I said to Aryan, I guess he was, so yes, we met about 2 years ago, and I said, look, Aryan, why don't you go before applying for a summer school, okay? And usually we recommend LSE or HEC, okay? And the good thing about HEC is that they give you a grade, okay? And unlike LSE that is very broad, HEC it's more focused, and Aryan will tell us how it works. And so basically what you have to understand is that we had 3 steps in a collaboration, and we are going to try to explain to them. So the first step has been to go for an MIM. So the first step was not even that. The first step was to go for a summer camp. And then I remember that we worked on the application, we worked together. And then after that, we have applied later on in 2021. So basically, why a summer camp? Why is it useful? What did you gain from all this? Can you explain?
Okay, yeah. So this was a very vital cog of my applications, because see, generally as Indians, I guess majority of the folks that have joined today are Indian applicants only. So yeah, I can talk about this. So when we are Indians, when we are applying to schools like HEC or let's say LBS or ESEC and the likes, the top ones, what happens is that we face a lot of competition from our own countrymen. And this is primarily because, and if you look at the class statistics of HEC Paris MIM, you will see, out of the Indians, out of all the Indians, 50% or 45 to 50% Indians are, coming from the IIT background. So when it comes to all this, they already have when it comes to, such people, their quants is really good. They are really brilliant. They're brilliant as students, and the amount of exposure that they get and the kind of projects that they work on, the AdCom says, oh my goodness, wow, this is what their reaction is. So in order to combat this, what we felt, like Dr. Hubert and I felt, I also went to a tier 1 undergraduate school, St. Xavier's, Bombay, but we still felt that, since HEC is my dream school, it might not materialize. I had a GMAT score of 720, although I had a GMAT score of 720 and a very international background. But my international background was still not. It was for fun traveling, leisure traveling, and also playing cricket, because I used to be a cricket player before. So we decided to apply to summer programs, and we applied to HEC. Unlike other summer programs, HEC makes you write 4 to 5 essays, and in some cases there is also an interview. But in my case, there wasn't any interview. I got accepted onto the HEC Paris investment banking and international corporate finance summer program, which is something that was completely aligning to what I wanted to do. And trust me, those were the 2 best weeks of my life, because I got to experience investment banking because I was still a final year student at Xavier's, and at Xavier's, I don't know if somebody in this call is from Xavier's. So the learning that we have at Xavier's Bombay is very theoretical. That is what it is there. I mean, it is something really prevalent in all the Indian UG universities, non-engineering UG universities. That the way they teach is very very. It is completely theoretical. So my knowledge of investment banking or finance, or let's say corporate finance or whatever, it was constrained to books, and that too I did not know a thing about investment banking. I just knew what it was, and I just knew that it has a lot of money, and
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, and I was just sure that this is what I want to do, and this is my thing, because I'm good with numbers and I love money. And I'm somebody who can work for long hours. Like Dr. Hubert knows that really well. I went to the summer program.
Yeah. Explain to me what it was like and what is like.
I'm coming to that. Yeah. So we had Professor Patrick Legoland, who is a very renowned face on BBC World News. He talks about finance. He specializes in cross-border M&A. So whatever they were teaching us was very, very practical. Like they were using the financials of companies like Apple. Eventually, they were calling industry experts. So like we had the CFO of this company called Kremlin Rexon. So this company has Kremlin was a different company, Rexon was a different company. They both got merged. So the CFO came to sort of walk us through the merger side of things. Then we had Emily Chauvet, I guess. She is. She is.
That he was online, huh?
The seminar. The problem is that
was online. Huh?
Around it was held in the online mode. Like when I attended now, if you guys go, if you guys go, it'll be offline. I mean, bad luck, but yeah. So what I want to say is that there was exposure there was industry exposure. There was a lot of networking. We had industry stalwarts coming and giving lectures. And going there from India, where there is we follow this traditional pen and paper based learning method, and it was something completely different from me. I was being made to work on real numbers and stuff like that, and going without any experience, about investment banking or stuff like that. I still managed to emerge as the global topper of that program. So you all can understand how good it must have been. Somebody who had zero experience about investment banking went there and became the outscored everybody. So yeah, I mean, I guess I've made myself pretty clear.
So basically, the idea is that was to give Aryan exposure to HEC, that he gets a grade, so he could perfect GPA 4 out of 4, so 20 out of 20 if you want. And then of course HEC stayed in contact with him, and I think that it contributed a lot to his acceptance to HEC. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically you have to see, and then you have sent last summer, like 2 months ago, he has friends from Jim Chipo, and he has sent Yash and
Surya.
Friends, so they went to IE. So of course they love the experience. The problem of IE, at first it's not a very good school, so it's an issue. And so on and so forth, IE doesn't give you a grade. Okay, so at least Aryan, he can already show that he went to HEC and he had a grade somewhere, which is not bad, huh? Okay, and this year.
Schools like HEC. So I got an interview right after the summer school. They were super impressed with my performance.
You do well, you have an interview, and of course, what was good with Aryan, he had already taken the GMAT, he had a 700+ score. He was even though he was a rookie, he did very well on the routine that he was not accustomed to even the plan of teaching. And then he was one of the big factor in his acceptance. Huh? Okay. Alors, basically, maybe we have questions to ask you. Alors, let's start with Syed Bilal Ahmed. You're probably from Pakistan, Syed, I guess. You have a question for us, Syed? Hello?
No, I don't have any questions at this point.
What is your background, Syed? Are you a student with us? Your name seems familiar to me. Are you a student with us?
I'm from India. I'm a student with you guys. I'm targeting the MFin program at LSE.
So probably you're targeting what LSE, Imperial, LBS. You can apply to LBS, and we had very good success rate at LBS
Why
this
not?
year.
Why
Huh?
not? And
You
LBS
really
is a
apply. You really apply. You don't
Yes,
need a 700 like Aryan. We had still accepted to LSE, to LBS, with the 640, 650, provided that you apply early enough. Okay, to apply last round. But if you apply round 1 or round 2 or even round 3, it will work. So,
guys,
okay,
I'm sorry, Dr. Hubert, for interrupting, but I just feel that I just feel that this is something that I need to share with them. It's going to be motivational for them. So I'll tell you something. After the HEC program, I was looking at LBS as a backup school. I know I shouldn't be saying this. I know I shouldn't be saying this, but yeah, I was looking at LBS as a backup school. So I just applied to their MIM program. With my I applied for the MIM program, and Dr. Hubert knows it. I got a reply from the admissions committee stating that the quality of your application, your grades, and your internships make us feel that you're better suited for the MFA program, and they even took me for the MFA program. So what I want to tell you is that this HEC summer school, don't have preconceived notions in your mind that okay, if I'm targeting HEC, it will do wonders. No, I mean any good MFin school like MIT, there is there is LSE, there is Imperial, and the likes. You'll know the names, right? So if you have an HEC summer program grade which is above, like let's say 3.5 or a 3.6, it is already adding a lot to your applications. I mean, it is not just constrained to the fact that you're becoming more international and your profile is getting internationalized, and the fact that you're getting to network with a lot of folks. No, gaining a 3.5 plus grade in the HEC summer program, it's not easy. And I got a 4 on 4, so I know how difficult it was to score that much, right? And there was no like Google form exam or stuff like that. It wasn't like that. It was totally practical, and you had to explain what you were doing, and you had to present what you were doing, just like a normal investment banker does. So it was tough. So yeah, I mean, if you all are like prospective MFin students, I would surely recommend applying for the HEC investment banking program. And
it's a pity yet because you're going to apply now, probably round 1 or round 2. It's a pity you didn't do that because of course it's a big plus, and it's also very important because that you get accustomed to another style of teaching, and they want to see how well you will do in a non-Indian style of teaching. That's something that is very important for them, especially if you do very well. Okay. So Shashwat, your friend, huh?
No. That's the other.
It's another Shashwat. It's another Shashwat. So Shashwat Singh, because we know a lot of Shashwat. Sorry. So you have a question for Aryan? Shashwat? Don't be shy. You know that if you study in the US or in Europe, you have to contribute. You have to talk. It will affect your grade. So Shashwat, no, the thing.
So hello guys.
Yeah. So what is your background, Shashwat, and what do you want to ask us? Go ahead, Shashwat.
So I was thinking about a master's in finance program, and I had a question related to that. I just wanted to know, how do you approach these essays? Because I sometimes have mind block and sometimes couldn't write. So how do I overcome that, and how do I approach the essays? And what does the admission committee exactly want in those essays from me?
Alors, answer Aryan, and I will also answer if you want to answer first.
Shashwat, just to be sure, are you targeting MIM programs or MFin programs?
MFin.
MFA programs.
MIF, MFin.
Yeah, sure. And what are the prospective schools like? Are you looking at any school in particular, or a list of schools?
I was looking about HEC Paris, London Business School, London School of Economics.
Okay.
You have a good GMAT?
What is your GMAT? What is your GMAT, Shashwat?
Oh, I gave a GRE actually.
How much? I also gave GRE. I have a 328 on the GRE. How much?
326.
Okay, we are still very close. So yeah, I mean HEC's cutoff is 320 and above on the GRE. But yeah, I'll tell you something. That's not the only thing that they look at. They look at a culmination of everything. And you rightly pointed out. You pointed out essays, and I would like to answer this for everyone, because I know everyone is a business school applicant here. So essays hold the maximum weightage. Essays can act as either the deal makers or the deal breakers. So when it comes to writing the essay, I just have one tip: be original. Just be original. Don't go on Google or don't go on GMAT Club and see what other people are writing, because honestly, it is not going to make any sense. the admission committee wants to know you. They want to know your career goals. They want to know how collaborative you are as a person, whether you support teamwork or not, and how well you align to the values of the school. This is all that's all what they want to know. So just be original, because in my applications I was very unique and very original. I mean, thanks to the Almighty, I have had this topsy-turvy life to get that content for my essay. So just introspect a lot. Just just have question answers with yourself, and you'll get the story for your essays. You don't need any.
Now, basically, yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Aryan. It's true that for an MIF applicant, it's very difficult to be very original. You agree? It's very difficult because basically, what are the three career paths that you can gain after an MBA, after an MFA? It's either investment banking, asset management, or capital markets. Okay, something that has to do with assets. Okay, or fintech. No? So that's the three possibilities. Or you can also, I have students now who go to HEC M3 and work for McKinsey. McKinsey has a finance practice. So they have a practice whereby for instance, they assess portfolios. So possible, but let's imagine that normally it's very difficult to see everything, that you have to be pretty standard. Okay, so sorry to tell you that, Aryan, but you have to be pretty standard. Of course, I remember that when we did Essec, it was a very different story, but you have to be original because you have applied also for the MC and the MIM. Okay, but if you apply for MIS, I would say that you have to be pretty standard, because basically the type of career that you have after an MIS are pretty standard. Okay, and you also have to be very knowledgeable, because a lot of the interviews are technical questions. You have the thing at HEC, very technical. MIT, you even have a math exam, etc. So my student, for instance, what an interview with MIT, I have to prepare them for the MIT math exam. It was not very difficult, but of course much higher than the GMAT. Of course, it was another level. They had linear algebra, they had calculus, they had functions, they had algorithms, etc. So logarithm, etc. So it was slightly more difficult, I would say. It's not high-level mathematics, but it's already more than the GMAT for sure. So you have to be pretty standard. Unfortunately, I would say that there's a big difference between MIM and MIF, in that I guess my students will be very standard, because they have certain expectations. Okay, when you apply for an MIM, you can say I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be a consultant, I want to be a marketer. Everything is possible. After an MIF, I'm looking that they are looking for a certain type of guy, because then they have banks who work with them, and the banks, they want asset managers, capital market traders, people who work on capital market and asset management, private equity, investment banking, and then a few in fintech. Okay, I'm sure that if one day they receive 99% of the students who want to work in fintech, it will be a big issue for them. So we explain everything very well, explain your interest for finance, what you want to do with it, but you have to be, don't be too creative. According to me, don't be too creative. You have to show that you can follow a plan in finance, and if you have had such great results these last years in the Essec, ESCP, and LBS and FIN. APC was a bit more difficult because it's slightly more selective. When you get already 60, 70% of the students who get to TC MIS, it's already a good rate, and we don't have 100% for TC, whereas we have 1% for ESCP or for Essec or for LBS, and we have 1% success. What else I want to say? So that's what you have to do. Basically, can you also explain the interview, because students have to be ready.
Yeah, sure.
Interviews in some schools are very technical. So LBS, no, not at all. The interview at LBS will be a traditional motivation interview.
LBS, I would just like to highlight something, that LBS will ask you about your career goals. And when I said investment banking and private equity in the medium term, and then long term also, whatever I told them, they had 3 questions for me. They asked a little about investment banking, a little about what I want to achieve and how I will do that, and some points on private equity as well. So it will never be too technical when it comes to the LBS MFA interview. But yes, you should know what you are writing. You should know what you have in your mind, and you should basically know yourself and your goals, and you'll clear the interview with flying colors. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, it's very important, and you see they're very, very technical questions. Okay. For me, I got prepared because when my son applied for best bracket bank, the top banks like Deutsche Bank, Goldman Sachs, etc., I prepared the interview with him, and honestly, it's the same level as the interview that you have in a best bracket bank, except that they don't have business case. Of course, at Goldman Sachs, they give you a business case, so it goes a bit deeper. The question that they ask you technically are of this level. So basically, if you have no knowledge of finance, don't even try. It won't work. Okay. So you need, if you apply, you can have studied philosophy and apply for an MIM. If you have a good GMAT, you can say what you want to do, they will take you. If you have studied philosophy, no experience in investment banking, and physically or cerebral arts, no experience in investment banking whatsoever, and you have an interview. Okay. First, I'm not sure that you get an interview, but you will not pass it. Okay. Me, I had to learn about finance for the interview because I had a little knowledge in between. It's very technical. You agree? No.
Yeah,
No.
Basically, Essec interview to be more, LBS interview, it was just a 20-25 minute thing. Essec interviews can be a little grilling because Essec interviews normally last for 1 hour. And, there are actually 3 people asking questions and there'll be 1 student also. Like, let's say you've applied for the Essec MFin has got no interview. Essec MIM has an interview. So I'll talk about my Essec MIM interview experience because this is something that I feel should be shared with you. So Essec MIM interview, they would want to know A to Z about yourself, about you and your career goals. Okay, and there'll also be a student who will be questioning you simultaneously because they want to see how well you you sort of gel with existing students as well. So I'll give you some tips. I'm normally not somebody who cracks a lot of jokes and stuff, but yeah, Essec interview, I was cracking a lot of jokes. So it worked for me. It may or may not work for you, but yeah, it should. What they must have analyzed is that, okay, this guy is a really easygoing guy, and he's taking it more like a conversation rather than making it feel like an interview. So like if he becomes a part of the cohort, people will find him really easy to work with and to interact with. So behind everything that you do in a business school interview, there is a motive, and motive not just from your end, there is motive from the end of the person who is eventually selecting you as well. So I wouldn't say that I would not suggest cracking a lot of jokes, but yeah, you can be a little sarcastic in a nice way. Don't try to mock them or stuff like that. Just be a little sarcastic in a nice way. Just make them feel like this is just what he said, because the interview is long, so you cannot really sit like this and talk sense for 1 hour. That's so abnormal. So just for your Essec interview, yourself. Just yourself, okay? Just be.
Okay, so that's the thing. So basically, after that, so it was a long story. Because you understand that Aryan is going to reapply. He's been accepted, but because of the war, he has decided to not to refuse the offer and to reapply. Okay. So basically, what happened is that after Aryan, first we have tried. He has been accepted to. First, he has been accepted to a top program. By the way, you got a scholarship, I remember. Did you not give you a scholarship? Yes. HEC gave you a scholarship.
No, HEC did not.
It was LSC that gave you. I know that. Remember that one gave you a scholarship.
LSE. I was offered a 50% scholarship.
Yeah, so
no, sorry. No. It wasn't 50%. It was 25%. 50%.
You were first some type of scholarship.
I was offered for summer school. For masters, 25. I guess it was around 25.
But he was already very good.
Yeah, I got into better schools.
Yeah.
Scholarship. Getting into better schools.
And then after that, what happened is that you told me, I want to try US programs. Okay. So to try US programs. So why US programs after that?
You see, back then things were looking really unstable in Europe. So Europe was my first preference any day. And there were, I would say that it was a blessing in disguise that I didn't go to the US also. I didn't go anywhere. That's a big blessing for me. Because eventually I applied to the US and got accepted at Duke and Cornell. Kellogg, I got waitlisted, unfortunately. So there were, the Russia-Ukraine war was the primary reason as to why I decided to sort of, write the GRE and apply to the US programs. A. B. US gives you a 3-year OPT, optional training. If the program that you're applying, or if the program that is, if the school that is selecting you as a program, your program basically is a STEM program. So they give you a 3 years stay back option, as compared to London or like England that gives you a 2-year post study work visa, and also France that gives you a 1-year post study work visa. So it just made more sense, because of the circumstances and because of the other things that I just mentioned about, to give it a try at US universities. But trust me, with the kind of profile that I had, I thought I would get MIT, but I could not. So pros.
You have not even applied to MIT.
No, I did not.
And can you explain? No, you have not.
No. Yeah, I did not apply to MIT. No, did not apply to MIT.
Maybe at MIT you'll have had an interview, most likely. But what was your fear with MIT? So can you explain again? Because MIT has specific.
Yeah, actually, I come from a non-mathematical background. You see,
exactly.
So, and there was in my
algebra, etc.
there was still stats, but we did not have like calculus, because I studied commerce during my undergrad, so we did not, there was not a lot of exposure to calculus, although we did some business stats, but that wasn't enough, so we decided against applying to MIT. So here I would say that if you're looking for good programs for MFINs, obviously good MFIN programs, you should always keep the UK and France as the two countries that as the two countries that you all should be targeting, because like America is known for its MBAs, Europe is known for the specialized masters, and schools like after studying at schools like HEC and LBS, you get really high paying and really nice jobs, and the salaries are also at par. I mean, there's not a massive difference. So even from the ROI point of view, US is very expensive, and like let's say you're spending around like let's say $90,000 or like $100,000 for your US education, you'll be earning nearly 40% less than that, all inclusive in Europe. So that's always a better deal, I feel, at the master's level, to go to Europe rather than, especially if it's either an MIM or an MIF, one should consider going to Europe instead of going to the US. US is obviously good for MBAs and tech masters, obviously.
Yeah. Of course, MIT is good, but what you have to see, the two things for MIT, you have to be quite good at math and at computer science, because they ask you to program.
Yeah.
So you need to know R, a program called R, and not everybody who has a business degree knows about this.
Yeah.
And the second thing that you need to do is that you have to understand that MIT is more a master in mathematics and finance.
Yeah.
Everything they say like an MFIN. So basically, they don't have a lot of programs. So you have to see that if you graduate from HEC, you'll have an average of 3 job offers from investment banks. Okay. So that's basically HEC is much better. Basically HEC has been number one since forever. Okay. And the reason why they're number one, first, because French are good at finance. Okay, that's something we're good at. Okay. We have of course an expertise that was developed for almost a century now, because these schools were created in the middle of the 19th century. And second of all, banks know that, okay, and they come to recruit. Basically, they work with 80 banks, okay, and usually HEC graduates get an average of 3 job offers. And what they like with HEC, they like their technicality. They say that the HEC students are the best in finance because of their technicality. You agree? Basically, when you take an HEC MIF graduate, you know that the guy can immediately work. Okay, on day one, he doesn't need any training. On day one, he can work. You agree, Aryan? That is very practical and very deep. Hello?
Yeah.
Now, so then you try after that to try the US, and of course, US can also be interesting because you have the famous STEM program. So imagine that you get accepted to MIT, they will give you the opportunity to test you. So of course, if your objective in life is to be in America, and you want some type of degree for that, go to America, because HEC or LBS will not give you a STEM, will not give you a visa to study in US, to work in US. And I don't know if, for instance, if you're an Indian was graduated from a European school, they will send you either in India or in Europe, but it's very unlikely that you have a job in US. Okay, because the visas are very difficult to get. Okay, so now what else can we say? Next question would be, if you have not started your program yet. So next question, can you explain a bit? Can you explain the admission process, the test, the application, the interview?
Sure.
A bit. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I'll talk about everything. So, the admission process can be a little grilling, as you see, because I mean, I see a lot of prospective LBS applicants and students here. So, LBS last year had around 12 essays. I mean, I'm talking about mini essays, large essays combined. So, on an average, if you take like 8 schools, because that's the minimum that I would recommend you to apply to, slot them in dream, competitive, and realistic targets. So if you just look at LBS and compare the essays with the other schools, you'll find that other schools also, some have got 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's take a number. Let's take on an average we have 6 essays per school. So 8 6 are 48, and add another 16 documents. So 48 plus 16. How much is it? 64. Yeah. So and these 16 documents are your LORs. So every school has got a question answer based LOR now. And if you ask your teachers or if you ask your boss to write a 1,000-word answer for each of those questions, they won't agree, obviously. So it is you and all your consultants who have to do it for you, right? So 64 documents takes a lot of time, right? So you have to give yourselves time when you are preparing for all these schools, because each of the schools, some will have similar essays, some will have completely different essays, and you have to be like on your toes when you're writing all these essays. You can't tend to relax, because it's your future after all. And once this process is done, then there'll be interviews, right? Interview, there are 2 types of interviews. One, there is the Kira talent platform interview, where you'll have pre-recorded questions and you'll have to record your answers. Some schools don't really take it seriously, but yeah, some do. And followed by the Kira interview, you will be having like NCR, when you, before the application deadline, along with the applications and the essays and stuff, you also have to submit your Kira talent platform interview. So they take it very, very seriously. They take it very seriously. And then if you are invited for the main interview, like at HEC, there won't be like more than 1 or 2 people in the panel. ESEC, there'll be around 3 to 4 people, and LBS also there'll be 1 person, and TU Cornell also there'll be a single person. So, in majority of the schools, there is a single person asking you basic stuff related to you, about your life and about your goals and how will you contribute to the school that you're targeting, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, this is the process. Like, this is the pre-admission process. I just want to tell you that give yourselves a lot of time. Because some people think that, okay, I'll wait to take the GMAT, I'll wait to get the perfect GMAT score, then I'll start working on my applications. Don't do that. This is not recommended. Make sure you're preparing for the GMAT and you're also working on the betterment of your profile and also working on your applications in tandem. That is the best. You divide your day in 3 slots, or like have a particular slot have a particular slot in the day for study abroad, 2 hours of GMAT, 2 hours of application, and 2 hours of profile building. Profile building also is another very important aspect. Like, let's say I'll take an example. Like I'll take the example of Amin. Okay, just hypothetical Amin, nothing personal, just hypothetical. I'm just taking.
I mean, who works for us? How I mean?
Yeah, I know he works for us. So for example, let's consider that Amin is an engineering student who wants to study finance. So Amin, via his essays and via his profile, has to convince the admissions committee that yes, I'm ready to make this transition. So how do you show this transition? This is what is meant by profiling. So you show this transition via molding your profile, and molding a profile from engineering to probably finance, just for the adcom to realize that yes, this is what you are actually willing to do in life, and you're looking at their school as the launch pad for this turnaround of your career. the turnaround that you're looking forward to. So this takes a lot of time. So don't leave it for last minute, because there's no point in spending 200, 300 or like $150 or euros on your application fees when the application is incomplete. So just give yourself ample time before you apply, and make sure that you're covering all the bases. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, that's what it is. Huh?
Yeah.
So another thing that I want to tell you is that it is more difficult to get an MIF than to get an MIM. Huh? And I have the thing, it is so because it is more difficult to get an investment banking job than it is to get a job in an MDP. Okay, usually also that my best students are my MIS students. Okay, it's the student with the highest score. For instance, the student that I got last year was over 760. I had like 4 or 5. Were all MIS students. So that's something that you have to consider. It's a program that is really designed for very, very good students. Now the thing that, for instance, LBS is slightly less demanding than HEC or MIT or also Oxford. Oxford is a very good program as well. What else can we say? So that's interesting. So I'm going to ask some of our students, some of the students that I know, to ask questions. So I mean, what questions have you got for us? I mean, hello, I mean.
Amin is on.
I'll be back. I have a call from my mother.
Okay.
I'm gonna reply to her because it's urgent, and I'll be back.
So Ashwin, you have a question for us? Ashwin Goyal. So you're from India, I imagine.
Bangalore.
So Ashwin,
Bangalore.
we met Ashwin in Bangalore.
Yeah, we met him.
For one-on-one. So yes, probably.
Yeah.
So Ashwin, you have a question for us? So we met you already in Bangalore. Ashwin.
Yes.
What
Thanks, Aryan and Dr.
Can I see you? Because I saw you probably, but if I see your face, you'll be.
Yeah, we met Ashwin. We met
You
Ashwin.
see, when you're European, you don't recall Indian first names so easily. Okay. Well, of course, I know his first names. So can I see your face so that if I see your face, I will remember you.
Sure.
Ashwin?
I
Yes,
have-
I remember. So,
We met a couple of days back, if you
Yeah, we
remember.
met a couple of days ago.
we met in Bangalore. You're a very bright guy, remember? So you definitely material for MIT. So Ashwin is typically a material, someone that I believe will get MIT Stone. Plus, he's good at math, he's good at programming, he's an IT engineer. So can you introduce yourself? So basically, that's a material for HEC, Columbia, NYU, and MIT. So can you introduce yourself, Ashwin?
Correct. Yeah, I'm targeting US B schools only and wanting to, do an MIM first, maybe as you recommended, right? So the end goal was to maybe do an M7 MBA, but as you mentioned that this might be a route which would, improve my chances. So I think that's that I think there's no more questions as such. But is there any advantage that European B schools provide over a US B school pertaining to doing the MIM program specifically? So you mentioned a couple of factors, but you know my background, my future goals. So basis that, is there any specific?
See the best MIM programs are in Europe. That's something that you cannot take away. And obviously,
Yeah, but I agree with you. But in his case, since he wants to go to America,
Yeah.
try American programs. Huh?
And why are they not?
It can be data science. By the way, we're not obliged to do an MIM. I will apply with you. See, I will try, for instance,
MIT Business Analytics would be really good.
MIT Business Analytics will be very good for you.
Business Analytics.
It's fine.
There
I will
is
try
there are a couple of programs at Columbia. There are great programs for you, Ashwin. You're an IIT, and they'll take you.
As
they
in,
take you probably as a good GMAT, good application, but basically there is material. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
yeah, no. So why are these not ranked on the FT rankings and other rankings? So you were mentioning something, Dr. Hubert.
Sorry, what did you say?
Hubert, his question is that why are these premier American programs not ranked? Like probably good programs from MIT and Columbia are getting unnoticed. And
Well, basically, they are ranked in the QS ranking, but not in the FT. Okay, So if you have a look at QS, MIM or MPhil, you have American programs, okay? Because working with QS, we made sure that they will rank all these programs, okay? There are still some lacks, but it's not too bad, okay? It's true at the Financial Times, and they say not, I'm not a fan of the Financial Times, but not at all, okay? I think that their MBA ranking is not bad for the top 20, top 30. That's not a matter.
Hello. Yeah.
If you follow my post, it's a big joke. Huh? So probably I would say that the most serious company, I think they can imagine that will be not too bad. In this field today is yes, it will matter. Huh? And by the way, you have to see that today recruiters trust US more than the okay. So QS is the leader in terms of ranking. Exactly. So have a look at QS ranking. You do MIM ranking QS, and then you see that the rank is better. Okay. Basically, I'm going to write a post about this, but the example of Ashley is very interesting because if someone wants to go to a top school, and I told you if you want to go to a top MBA, do it in 2 steps, like Aryan probably. Step 1, you get a master that you're sure to get, given your background. You think you get a good MIM or a good master in data analytics because your background is so strong. Okay. And then if you work 2, 3, 4 years in the US, after that, you'll have a top background in India, a top background in the US, and then you have a good chance of getting a school like MIT. First of all, I want to tell you something actually. If you go for master in data analytics at MIT, and I'm sure that you get good grade, it will be easy for you to apply for an MBA. Okay? I'm sure that if you get a master in data science from MIT, you're not going to ask for an MBA at MIT, but you have to say, I'm sure that the worst, I would do the MIT MBA. Many people will be happy to do the MIT MBA, and probably even better than that. Okay, don't forget that if you already have a master in one school, it's quite easy to go for an MBA or PhD program. Okay, I think Ashwin is a good example of someone who is going to apply in 2 steps. Okay, because it's the best thing. And plus, what is good, Ashwin, is that the GMAT or the GRE that you get now is going to be quite good. Imagine that you're going to score 740, 750. I think that Ashwin, he scored 650 without any training.
No, he scored 680, I guess, without preparing.
So
Yeah.
basically, many people would be happy to score 680 without any training.
Months of preparation.
So basically, it means that you can get 750, 760.
He can easily get 750 with 10 or
19 engineer, you should do pretty well. And then don't forget that you take your GMAT 5 years. Okay, so it means that you're going to reapply before 5 years to an MBA. You can reapply with the same GMAT. Okay, and probably anyway, your GMAT now is stronger than your GMAT is 5 years because you're fresh out of school, so you're much better at taking tests than you've been 5 years after being very tired, working long hours, and doing a job that is less intensive. Okay, Ashwin? So basically, for many reasons, it makes a lot of sense for you to do that. So basically, that's what we call the 2-step approach. Okay.
Yeah.
There is Ibrahim. So Ibrahim, you are a bit of your students, Ibrahim Koulibaly. So you're from, obviously, you must be from Ivory Coast. Ibrahim, are you from Ivory Coast? You have a question for us, Ibrahim? We are, of course, very proud of developing MBA Center in Africa. So now we get a lot of students from Africa. We get good schools. They're probably using their level of English when they come from the French-speaking part, I mean, Senegal. We get most of our students come from Ivory Coast. Ibrahim, you have a question, Ibrahim? Ibrahim? He's not answering. So, Treshanu Carl, I don't know you. Treshanu, you're not our student.
I think he was even he was there at the one-on-ones, if I'm not wrong.
Treshanu?
Yes, I was, Dr. Hill.
Yeah, we met him.
Hi, Aryan.
Can I see your picture? If I see your picture, I will remember.
Yes.
Yes, I remember
Hi.
you. You were the first student that I saw when I saw Itika. Same thing, we have the same approach for you. Same thing as for Ashwin. We advise you to do a 2-step approach. So I know that Ashwin is 100% convinced. Ashwin, you're convinced to have the 2-step approach. I'm not sure that that Kesharu is completely convinced, but believe me, by the way, that's the approach that Aryan is going to take as well. Okay. And by the way, it's not exactly my approach, but me, when I was a student at Sciences Po, I did an exchange program with Harvard GFK, which means that I also had grades at Harvard. You see, okay, it was not for the same program, but I had already, but they were not very good, by the way. But because I was not doing much, it was my first time abroad, in America. I did everything but studying. Okay, so my grades were not very good. And I thought that anyway, I would never come back. So I didn't really care. But still, one or two teachers saw that I was not too stupid, so they said maybe we should give him a chance. And so basically, what I want to say, it's very important maybe to have a two-step approach, especially when you come from India. Especially when you come from India, because we have so many. I give you an example. I have a very, very good student. Her name is Jinisha. She has got 780 on the GMAT. She's very intelligent, very, very girl, very good person. It's a pleasure to work with someone like that, like her. And we have to apply to Colombia. We're almost done, so we will finish the application this weekend. Okay, this Sunday. And she was a bit mad at me. I said, "But Nisha, why are you mad at me?" Imagine, she told me, I went to a fair in Mumbai, maybe, and there are already 100 Indians who have sent their application to Colombia. Can you imagine? So, like mid-September, already 100 that sent their application to Colombia. 100. Okay. So I say, wow. I know that you have a lot of Indians applying, but 100 already mid-September. Can you imagine? 100. Okay. So basically, it's very, very difficult. And even a girl like her, I see that she will get in. But can you imagine a woman from India, high security, top grades. She comes from Christ University. She was the best student there. 70 GMAT. I'm not even sure she will get in. Okay. So it's difficult. It's very difficult. That's why the two-step approach, if you're aiming for a top program, is a good thing. By the way, if you have a look at the top CEOs, the top Indians that were CEOs, they have a two-step approach. They did an MSc, then they work, and then they do an MBA. Who is the CEO? Is the CEO of Google? Aryan was what is the name of this Indian guy? It's not with us, Aryan. What is the name of this? You have two Indian CEOs who had an MSc, work, and then
there are the two most prominent names, Indian names there. One is Mr. Sundar Pichai, and the other one is Mr. Satya Nadella.
Even they both have an MSc, and then they work only in MBA.
Yeah, they got a master's first, and then they applied for these top MBAs, and that is what all of us are doing. Even I'm doing that. I mean, after a master's in finance at HEC, I'll probably work for 3 years, and then apply for I'll apply for an MBA and probably get a Harvard or a Stanford or what, who knows.
You see, so basically, it's good to have a two-step approach, because here what I want to say is that if you study at MIT, if you study at the Columbia, you'll not be that impressed by the level of the students. Okay, you say they are good, of course they are good, but basically they've been also able to get in because they've been able to show the program that you should take them. And I'm sure that you will say, I'm going to tell you something. In the schools where I was in France, I had much better students than the one that I've seen at Harvard. I knew people were much brighter. But this guy that I met in France, have decided to stay in France. Okay? So basically, can you hear me?
There is a question for you in the chat box.
So basically, that's what I want to tell you, is that basically those who go to Harvard, Wharton, and Stanford also make the effort to communicate and to build a profile to be accepted. Okay, so it's so yes, what is the question?
Yeah, it's in the chat box.
Ashwin, with a master in business administration, you asked as an again. So anyone, but of course, the specialized master is not a bad thing, because you're an engineer, then you do data science, and then you want to go for an MBA, probably will be even better. And then we could target MIT, and it's a good thing because MIT, it's a STEM program, so you can stay 3 years. And after the 3 years, you will apply for an MBA. So you stay 1 year in the US, you stay 1 year in the US, you work for 3 years. At the end of the 3 years, you start, I don't know, Harvard or Wharton. So, and basically, you be a resident by that.
Would a product management be would a master's in product management be as convincing?
Yeah. Product management, something that is a bit between management, between business and engineering is not too bad. Huh? We are going to apply to several masters. We're going to apply to big names. Seriously. We're going to buy big names like Duke, like Cornell, like NYU, like MIT, like Harvard, like Columbia. We're going to buy big names. Huh? You see? And we see from there. Okay?
Understood. Yeah.
You need a big name. Okay? And it's possible to come at least 10. Okay? So Cristiano, you have a question for us, Cristiano, or not? Because Cristiano is very he comes to meet us. We like Cristiano a lot. So Cristiano is a financier. He's working for a finance company, preparing the CFA. Cristiano, you know. Sian, you already asked questions. So basically, famous last word, Aryan, in 1 minute. Summary, what are your piece of advice? Tell us.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Could you like repeat?
So what would you to conclude, to sum up? What did you say?
Apply as early as possible and just be true to yourself. I mean, you all know what needs to be done. So just prepare a schedule. I mean, I know that there are other things also that need to be taken care of in life. But yeah, when it comes to your applications, please prepare a schedule and stick to it, because last minute, a lot of things go haywire. And but the ADCOM will not listen to any of your excuses later. So just give yourself time, start early, and follow and stick to a schedule. And when it comes to the GMAT and the GRE, I'll still say the same. Start preparing early and just give it time. Just give it good amount of time, and it should be good. Yeah.
You agree? That's what I say. So I've met a very impressive MIM, MIF candidate. So Ashwin, of course, Krishanu, you can apparently can get a good pool. So Ibrahim, I know that you're studying with us, but I don't know you very well. Syed, I don't know. Yes, I've met you, but I don't know you. But yes, I was very impressed by Ashwin and Krishanu. Huh? Okay, so according to me, can do very well, but two steps. Okay.
Does Amit
If you want to get an M7, 2 steps. Okay. Otherwise, and like Aryan, I'm sure that Aryan will go for an MBA after that. That's why he's better off with an MIF than with an MIL, because the MIL is a general management technique. Huh? The same thing for impression, we should go for a master in finance. Huh? And we should definitely MIT. And don't forget that MIT will have 2 months and a half to apply. Huh? So there's only the deadline for such schools is January 2026. Okay? So it was very nice to be with you. As you know, I'm in India now for another what?
Okay.
With Aryan, but yes, you're in touch with Aryan. Aryan is working for LBS Center. We'll give you the strategy, Ashwin, now, so you know the strategy to follow. Then you have classes, as you know, LBS Center as a strategic partnership with top 1%. That's the plan that we recommend. That's our partner, anyway. And we believe it's the best company in this field, so we are very proud of working with the best event suppliers. And we give you a free buy, so if you work with LBS Center, we give you a software service, we can test, we give you access, we give you a strategy plan to follow. But the core force is a top 1%, and with top 1%, you will receive the full pledge. Okay, it was very nice to see you. It was a great pleasure to see my Indian students and to see again Aryan. Have a good day. Thank you.
Does
Bye-bye.
Amit have a question for us? Because I think he got a call from his
I mean,
mom.
yes, but
We
I mean,
missed
is more for
We missed his question. So.
I mean, yes, Christian.
Sure. So finally, Aryan, are you gonna when exactly will you start?
I will apply.
Next
I'll apply this year again, and when Dr. Hubert allows me to leave MBA Center Paris, I'll join a business school. It depends on Dr. Hubert, because he's made me director of the Paris office, and that's
because basically
big at 22. So I don't want to miss that either. So yeah.
And so it could be like
So
September or January.
September. No, January.
September.
Yeah, no. Basically, what happened? There's no September. So basically, IE has a September intake. What I want to say is that anyway, Aryan, he cannot apply after 2 years. So basically, if you do an MIF, you can do it after the bachelor, 1 year after the bachelor, or 2 years after the bachelor. Okay, but not 3 years. The only school that allows 3 years of the bachelor, the only master that allows you 3 years of the bachelor is the HECL Silver Scholar that you can get 3 years after the bachelor. Okay, but anyway, you have the deadline, which is 2 years. Okay. By the way, Akanksha, you're going now to work with Aryan, and we appreciate that you connect, because Aryan is very busy, and talking with Aryan, we have a lot of follow-up to do. Okay, Akanksha? So Akanksha is from
Sure.
Bhopal. From Bhopal. Akanksha is from Bhopal.
I don't know you. Can you please come on camera? I mean, I don't know half of the people only you, but.
Yeah, I have to do that. I never saw Akanksha as well.
Hello, hi Akansha, hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Well, Akanksha.
How?
Yeah. So
Good,
maybe if you can connect, you can connect.
Sure, I'll
Okay,
send you a text and I'll explain my work, and maybe if you can help me, it'll be great.
Because you have to
Sure.
Aryan, yeah? Okay. Well, have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.